You know, we hear a lot about Mediterranean plants, Mediterranean-style gardens, but what are they really? Good news is we've got some fantastic examples of them here in Adelaide, and one particularly is at Skye, and it's been the passion for 35 years, gardener Virginia Sheridan. And I want to show you around just to see what you can achieve. Virginia, many gardeners would look at a slope like you've got here and think, well, where do I start? You know, what do I do? What are some of the things that you had to consider?
Well, I suppose retaining walls are the first thing you think of, because it will look better if you have some flat areas perhaps mixed with the sloping bits. Also, a slope, the wind will hit a slope and dry it out more quickly than it will a flat area, so that helps with water conservation if you can flatten the area. And there are things that you can do to disguise the slope, like perhaps planting some medium-sized shrubs halfway down the slope and then having smaller ones around.
What about plant selection? Are there particular plants that you should be planting on a slope to be the foundation of the garden?
The two-cream does very well here. The Mediterranean plants, the buddleias, some of the Australian grasses. I like the limoniums. That's a favourite plant because it comes up and it flowers for so much of the year. There's always a flower on the limonium here.
And how good's this stonework? Virginia has spent years collecting pieces of local stone and put them to good use in retaining walls, steps and garden paths. This one is planted out with diamondia. Another good thing about this garden is the number of hedges. Virginia cleverly uses them to hide or draw attention away from items or outlooks she'd rather screen. They also define each garden room, if you like, adding structure and form.
I noticed quite a few silver plants too.
Yeah, well, silver plants are Mediterranean plants, and usually that's a technique they have to protect them from the sun. It might be a little powdery bloom on them, or else little fine hairs on them, which keeps the sun off them a little bit. So they're usually plants that will take a hot spot.
Now, you're in the Mediterranean Garden Society.
Well, at each meeting they have a plant swap, so people take along plant excess to their needs. You don't pay for them. People are happy for you to just take their plants.
Now, this is the treasure in itself, the vegetable garden, facing north and not terribly big, but big enough to supply the average family. And you know, it's probably only about a 3 by 3 square metre garden plot, either side of a lovely little brick path, and the pots, well, that's where the overflow of the veggies can go. So there's no excuse for not having a veggie garden. Silverwood is part of Open Gardens Australia and is open on the 29th and 30th of October this year. Now, if you want to pick up some great ideas, my suggestion is bring a pencil and pad and allow yourself a couple of hours to stroll around this truly typical Mediterranean-style garden.
So put the Silverwood's Open Garden in your diary for next weekend. And also, the Spring Rose Festival will be on at the Wavell Showground with amazing floral displays, trade stands, plants for sale and superb competition roses on show.